What is the first thing that comes into your mind when you hear the name of the Apostle Peter? What is the first thing that comes into your mind? Well, some of you might be thinking about the story when Peter betrayed Yeshua. And along with that story, there was this one particular sign of course, we know that Yeshua predicted that the Apostle Peter would deny him 3 times. And that sign would be the rooster. You probably know about that. And because of this incident, the rooster has been a common emblem of the Apostle Peter. If you look into other churches, the rooster has been a symbol of watchfulness. It's also a symbol of renewedness, or because of how Peter was renewed to his position. And that's why when you go to some churches, there are some roosters perhaps on their rooftop or somewhere within the vicinity of the church. And even in the movies or in the magazines or any other publication, it seems that the rooster has been a common emblem that is related to Peter. That's why if you have watched Pinoy movies perhaps, you would notice that when he is portrayed in heaven, he has a rooster. He is carrying a rooster. You probably have seen that. Even in comics, that for you to understand that it's Apostle Peter, that he has a rooster, he's carrying that. And so there's no denying that the rooster has been a symbol of the Apostle Peter. So let's just go to that passage, brethren, where we could see the instance where it says that this rooster has been used to identify the Apostle Peter. Actually, this story or this part of the gospel is so important that it was mentioned in all gospels. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they all mention this. So let's go to one of the passages where we could read. Matthew 26, verses 33 to 35. Matthew 26, 33 to 35. It says here, Peter answered and said to him, "Even if all are made to stumble because of you, I will never be made to stumble." Yeshua said to him, "Assuredly, I say to you that this night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Then verse 35, Peter said to him, "Even if I have to die with you, I will not deny you." And so said all the disciples. So it wasn't just the Apostle Peter, but also the other apostles or disciples. And then we found the fulfillment here in jumping to verse 69. Now Peter sat, of the same chapter, now Peter sat outside in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him saying, You also were with Yeshua of Galilee." But he denied it before them all, saying, "I do not know what you are saying." Verse 71, and when he had gone out to the gateway, another girl saw him and said to those who were there, "This fellow also was with Yeshua of Nazareth." But again, he denied with an oath, "I do not know the man." And a little later, those who stood by came up and said to Peter, "Surely you also are one of them, for your speech betrays you." Then he began to curse and swear, saying, "I do not know the man." Immediately a rooster crowed, and Peter remembered the word of Yeshua, who had said to him, "Before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." So went out and wept bitterly. Alright, so that is the story. You could read the same proclamation by Yeshua in Mark 14:30, Luke 22:34, and then John 13:38. So those are the parallel verses of this story. Now, but brethren, what if I tell you that there is a fascinating and interesting mistranslation in this passage? And because of this mistranslation, a very important message was kept hidden up until now, until you know the true meaning of this verse. Alright? So what if I tell you, or what if I told you, that this isn't really a rooster? It's not a rooster, but something else. Now you might ask, Josh, is that really important? Because a rooster or a rooster, a duck, or whatever it is, does it really have an implication that we should all understand? Well, yes, because later I will show you the lesson that we can learn from this mistranslation. All right? So I hope that you are ready. So the first thing that I would like to mention to you, that this is not actually a rooster. This is not actually a rooster. It is something else, as I will show you later. So how do we know that this is not a rooster? Well, the first thing is that, according to Mishnah Baba Kama 7.7, so the Mishnah is actually the earliest compilation of the rabbinic oral law. According to this Mishnah, that roosters and chickens were forbidden in the city of Jerusalem. Because the chicken or the roosters are actually, they kind of messy. And because they could come and go anywhere else, they are concerned that these animals would go to the sacred places in the temple and it would desecrate the temple. So that is the reason that they don't allow roosters and chickens at that time. So that is according to Mishnah. So if there's no rooster around the city of Jerusalem, how can Peter hear the crowing of the rooster if there's no rooster there? Now, some people would say perhaps there's a rooster perhaps outside the city, and maybe the sound is very strong, and Peter could have heard that. Well, that could be a possibility. But think about it, brethren. Have you heard a rooster crowing, brethren? Typically, a rooster that does not simply crow one time. Ilang beses yan? It could crow a lot of times, multiple times. And what else? When one rooster crows and another rooster hears it, what happens? The other rooster will answer. And then it will have a domino effect, and every rooster would be crowing, and they would make all this kind of sound. So it's kind of difficult to see which one is really the rooster that Yeshua is talking about. Maybe for the sake of argument, someone would say that perhaps maybe Josh, God could perform a miracle. Perhaps just because just on that time he could eliminate all other crows, and then there's only one that would sound. Perhaps that would do. Well, if you would know the real meaning or the real reason why the rooster needs to crow, you would understand that it doesn't need a miracle. And that's what I want to show you today. So, if it is not a rooster, what is it? What could be this word? Now, the answer lies in going back to the original text. Okay? Let's go. Let's go back to Matthew 26, verse 34, brethren. Matthew 26, verse 34. It says, "Assuredly, I say to you that this night, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Now, if you look into the Greek word of the word crows, okay, the word crows, it is actually phoneo. According to Thayer definition, this word means to sound, to emit a sound. And look at this, brethren. This sound could be produced by a cock or a rooster, or it could also be produced by a person. If it's a person, it would phoneo would mean to cry out, to cry aloud, speak with a loud voice. Okay, so this tells you that this word crow, the word crows, it could either be it could be a sound made by a man, or it could also be a sound made by a crow or a bird or a rooster. So in that case, brethren, how can we know if it is a man or it is a rooster? Then we have to go to the original word of the word rooster. Now, This is very interesting, brethren. Because if you look into the Greek word of rooster, the Greek word for rooster is, it's the word alektor. Alektor is the Greek word for rooster. And the word alektor is it doesn't give an implication that it could be a man, but it is just simply referring to a rooster. So there's no choice. It's only a rooster. That's the word alektor. But look at this, brethren. If you're going to the Hebrew word of the word rooster, it is the word gaver. Let me see. The word gaver. Now this is very interesting, brethren, because the word gaver could mean a rooster or a man. A rooster or a man. If you look into the historical, cultural, and religious context of this verse, this gaver is actually referring to the temple crier. The temple crier at that time. Now, who is this temple crier? And why is he called gaver or rooster? You see, brethren, if you go back to the time of Yeshua, they don't have an alarm clock. They don't have just like we have our phone that we could set, we could have our digital clocks. They don't have an alarm clock. That's why they need a temple crier. This temple crier would climb up to one of the highest point of the temple, and he would cry aloud so that he would awake, or he would rouse up the priests, the Levites, and the people to prepare for the morning services. All right. So this is very interesting because of the role the temple crier is doing. He is referred to a rooster or a gaver. That's why he is called a gaver. Now, when the Greek translators look into this verse and they saw that it is crowing, the gaver is crowing and the gaver is rooster, so they use the Greek word alektor because they know that they didn't have the cultural understanding of what this person is doing. So what does this tell you, brethren? This proves that the New Testament is primarily written in Hebrew. You see that, brethren? Because if it is a Greek, then we could see that there's a mistake or there's a mistranslation in the Greek manuscript. So we could see here that the Greek manuscript that we have is a copy of the original, which is the Hebrew manuscript. Okay? So, what else is so interesting about here, brethren? What's interesting about this is that we need to ask, what is the temple crier is saying? Ano ba sinasabi niya? What is so significant about the temple crier? Well, here it is, brethren. The temple crier is said to have 3 proclamations that he make before the morning sun. Okay? There are 3 things that he would shout out. He would say, number 1, all the priests prepare to sacrifice. Then he would also say, all the Levites to their stations. And he would also say, all the Israelites come to worship. So you could see here, brethren, that when the Apostle Peter heard the temple crier, he understood very well what it meant. He knew that there would be a sacrifice that would be happening. And that sacrifice is Yeshua. That's why he wept bitterly. Because he realized that the sacrifice is just about to begin. And here is already denying Yeshua. Ang aga-aga pa, he already denied Yeshua. Hindi man lang siya nakaabot dun sa panghapon o sa pangtanghali. Umaga pa lang, he already denied Yeshua. And that's why he wept bitterly because he knew that what he did was really what Yeshua has prophesied. So you could see here, brethren, that knowing the original word for the rooster is actually would give us more understanding of what happened on that day. So with this in mind, brethren, what are the important lessons and the implications that we could learn, we could get from this? Well, the first thing is that what I mentioned, this further proves that the New Testament was primarily written in Hebrew. And that the Greek manuscripts are actually a copy of the original. Okay? Second, when we study the Word of God, it would help us to also consider the cultural and religious context of that verse. If we would just take one verse and then we would not look into its biblical background, its cultural background, we could easily mistranslate the verse. That's why if you're going to do a Bible study, you need to try to check the cultural and historical background of that verse, and you will have a very more bigger picture of what is happening in that text. And finally, brethren, I think this is the most important lesson that we could learn here, is that this shows us that there are still so many things we should learn about the Bible. This tells us, brethren, that it doesn't mean that when we traditionally accepted things, it doesn't make it automatically true. This should further convince us to constantly prove all things and study the Word of Yahweh with all diligence, commitment, and passion for truth. Hello friends, I need your help. If this is not too much to ask, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. This should only take 5 seconds of your time, but this simple gesture would help me reach more people and share the Word of God with the rest of the world. You have the power to make a difference in people's lives.